Good day, children. I hope you're all fine. Welcome to the second session of From the Diary of Anne Frank. This is in your NCERT Class 10 textbook, First Flight. Children, in our previous session, we talked about Anne Frank's life, about her family, about her historical background. We talked about her relationship with her family members and her friends, especially her father, whom she adored, and her grandmother, whom she loved and whom she missed very much after she died. Anne Frank even lit a candle in the memory of her grandmother on her birthday cake. Anne had several friends with whom she played and whom she talked about everyday affairs with, but she did not have a close friend, not a real friend, with whom she would share her secrets. So she wrote her private things, her private thoughts and feelings in a diary, which she named Kitty. Today we will get a peep into Anne Frank's school life in the second session. We will explore her relationship with her classmates and her teachers, especially her maths teacher. Children, you will identify very well with Anne and her classmates. Now let's enjoy this lesson about Anne's school life. She writes, "Dearest Kitty, the four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary." The four of us means Anne, her sister Margot, and her parents. "Dearest Kitty," Kitty, as you remember, is the name of her diary, "our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bets. GN and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, CN and Yaks. They have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet. From morning to night, it's, 'You are going to pass.' 'No, I'm not.' 'Yes, you are.' 'No, I'm not.' Even G's pleading glances and my angry outbursts can't calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth." Why was Anne's entire class quaking or shaking in its boots? Because they were very nervous about their results. They were to get their final results and it had to be decided who would go on to the next class and who would be kept back. So how were the children passing the time as they waited for the results? Many of these children were making bets. Some had put their entire summer savings at stake. And she and her friend G made fun of those nervous boys. Children, I think you can all relate very well to the classroom scene. You can understand the nervousness of the children before the results. You might have felt the same before your results. Some children are petrified that they may not pass. Others are confident of doing well. How do you feel? Confident? Do you comfort your less confident friends? I'm sure you're a very good friend and you must be cheering them up and giving them more confidence. Children, does Anne think everyone should pass? No. According to Anne, about a quarter of the class, that means 1/4 of the class, should not be allowed to pass because they hardly respond or take part in any of the class activities. She calls them dummies. She says that teachers are very unpredictable. They might just pass these children, the dummies, who are weak in studies. Anne writes on, "I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We will make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework. an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I'd worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. So Anne and her friends are not worried. They're sure that they will pass. Just that, yeah, they're a little unsure about mathematics because it seems to be a tough subject. But then they say, why should we worry about it? Let's just wait for the result and not lose hope. So children, why was Mr. Keesing annoyed with Anne? Because she talked too much in his class. This irritated him, and he'd given her several warnings. She still did not stop talking. How did he punish her then? He asked her to write an essay on the topic, a chatterbox. She thought it was a weird topic to write about. Children, if you are not in class, if you are talking too much, what kind of a punishment do you get? Are you made to stand? Or are you punished another way? Are you told to write 1,000 times or 100 times, I will not talk in class? Or are you also made to write essays? That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Now she's in a pensive mood, she's thinking deeply about it. That's why she's chewing on the tip of her fountain pen. Children, do you chew on your pencils or your pens? It's not a good habit, not very hygienic, but yes, a lot of people chew on the pencils and pens. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with a convincing argument to prove the necessity of talking. I thought and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit, since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. Now, he laughed at the argument, but when she kept on talking, she did not keep quiet. He gave her another essay to write. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. So for 2 more lessons she kept quiet. However, during the 3rd lesson he'd finally had enough, and Frank, as a punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. So children, till now she's been asked to write 3 essays. The class roared. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend Sani, who's good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse. So, with the help of her friend, she writes an essay in the form of a poem. I jumped for joy. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I'd make sure the joke was on him. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. So what was Anne's poem about? It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings. And those little baby ducklings were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Here she is implying that Mr. Keesing is being hard on her by stopping her from talking. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. So Mr. Keesing was so impressed and so amused that he read it out to the class as well as to several other classes. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned extra homework. So now he's kind of given up trying to stop her. He knows that she's incorrigible. He knows that she'll just go on talking. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing's always making jokes these days. So he's actually become way more light-hearted. So Anne ends this diary entry with, yours, Anne. How did Mr. Keesing punish Anne? Mr. Keesing gave Anne several warnings to stop talking in class, but when she did not stop, he decided to punish her. He did not make her stand in class. He did not ask her to leave the class. He did not even ask her to sit alone in the corner, nor did he ask her to sit right in front. Rather, he found a very interesting and innovative way to punish her. Although he was a maths teacher, he asked her to write an essay on a chatterbox. This was meant to make her realize her mistake and improve her behavior. In addition to it, it would improve her creative and writing abilities. So children, Anne had said earlier that teachers are unpredictable. Do you think Mr. Keesing is unpredictable? Yes, quite actually. So when Anne talks so much in his class, he doesn't scream at her, he doesn't send her out of the class, he doesn't punish her in another way. He makes her write an essay. And when she writes that essay, in which she makes a point that she cannot stop talking because it's a student's trait, and she cannot stop talking because her mother talks too much, which is amusing for anybody to read. But yes, he could have got angry at such an answer. Yet, he doesn't get angry, he laughs. So that is how we can see that Mr. Keesing is unpredictable. Children, let's have a quiz now. The diary was given to Anne for her, the options are 12th birthday, 13th birthday, 14th birthday or 15th birthday.
The diary was given to Anne for her 13th birthday.
Good. The next question is, Anne's diary was published as the diary of a young girl, from the diary of Anne Frank, Anne Frank's diary, the diary.
I believe Anne's diary was published as the diary of a young girl.
Good, very good. Anne's entire class was excited, shaking with nervousness, crying, or none of the above.
Anne's entire class was shaking with nervousness.
That's true. Now, why do you think they were shaking? They were worried about their results.
Yes, ma'am.
Anne felt, the options are, the whole class should pass, half the class should pass, 3/4 of the class should pass, 90% of the class should pass.
I believe Anne felt that 3/4 of her class should pass.
That is correct, because she said 1/4 of the students were dummies. The next question is, Anne was not sure of passing in, you have to tell me which subject, okay? The options are science, maths, social studies, French.
Anne was not sure of passing in maths.
Yeah, she felt she was weak in maths, although she really wasn't. But that, of course, you know, she should have just put in more hard work and she would have done fine. She should just have been more attentive in class and she would have done just fine. Mr. Keesing punished Anne. The options are for not doing her homework, for being late in class, for being talkative, all of the above.
I think Mr. Keesing punished Anne because for being talkative in class.
That is correct. Mr. Keesing punished Anne by making her, now how did he punish her? Okay, the options are stand in class, leave the class, write an essay, clean the class.
Mr. Keesing punished Anne by making her write an essay.
Rather, he made her write 3 essays. That's
Right.
so correct. Absolutely right. The diary was originally written in which language? French, Dutch, English or German?
The diary was originally written in Dutch.
Good, very good, because they were living in Holland, so she
Yes.
was comfortable with the Dutch language. And justified being talkative in class by saying, the options are, it is a habit, it is an inherited trait, the class is boring, both A and B.
I believe and justified being talkative in the class by saying that it's a habit and it is an inherited trait. So the answer is both A and B.
Excellent. Which date did Anne record the incident of Mr. Keysing's class? 12th June 1942, 20th June 1942, 1st August 1944, 12th June 1944.
I think it's option number B, 20th June 1942.
Very, very well done. You're a brilliant child. Children, let's do an activity which will enhance your language skills. Now look at the following words: headmistress, long awaited, homework, notebook, stiff-backed, outbursts. These words are compound words. They're made up of two or more words. Now compound words can be nouns or adjectives or verbs. I would like you to match the words in column A with their meanings written in column B. The words are heartbreaking, blockhead, homesick, law-abiding, overdue, daydream. And the meanings are obeying and respecting the law, thinking about pleasant things, forgetting about the present, producing great sadness, an informal word which means a very stupid person, missing home and family very much, do something to an excessive degree. Now I would like you to match the meaning of heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking is producing great sadness.
Good. Blockhead.
Blockhead is an informal word which means a very stupid person.
Good. Homesick.
Missing home and family very much.
Good. Law-abiding.
It should be obeying and respecting the law.
Good. Overdue.
Do something to an excessive degree.
Well done. Daydream.
Think about pleasant things, forgetting about the present.
That's excellent. Do you daydream a lot?
Yes, I do.
It's very interesting and lots of fun. So, children, now I want you to make 10 compound words on your own and also make sentences of those compound words. Children, let's have another language activity. This is about phrasal verbs. A phrasal verb is a verb followed by a preposition or an adverb. Its meaning is often different from the meaning of its parts. So we have phrasal verbs like plunge in, kept back, move up, ramble on, get along with, calm down. So these are given in column A. I would like you to match their meanings with them in column B. So let's see what is the meaning of plunge in.
It means go straight to the topic.
Good. Kept back.
Not promoted. Yes.
That's right. Move up.
Go to the next grade.
Very good. Ramble on.
Speak or write without focus.
That's true. A lot of kids do that. Get along with.
I think have a very good relationship with.
Yeah, I'm sure you get along with your friends.
Yes, I do.
And your family.
Yes, I do.
Good. Calm down.
It has to be, I think, make or remain quiet.
That's correct. You've done well, my child.
Thank you, ma'am.
Children, I would like you to make sentences using these phrasal verbs. And I would also like you to seek out and look out for more phrasal verbs in the lesson. Now we'll do another activity which is based on idioms. Idioms are groups of words with a fixed order and a particular meaning, which is different from the meaning of each of their words put together. Phrasal verbs can also be idioms. They are said to be idiomatic when their meaning is unpredictable. I'll give you a few sentences from the text which have idioms in them. And I would like you to give me the meaning of those idioms. The first one is, our entire class is quaking in its boots.
I believe getting nervous and frightened.
That is correct. The next sentence is, until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart.
I think not to lose heart means not to lose hope.
That's very good. So the entire class was quaking in its boots because they were very nervous about their result.
Yes.
And now they're all helping each other keep a good morale. They're telling each other not to lose heart, not to lose hope. Very good. Mr. Keesing was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much.
I think for ages mean for a very long time.
That's true. I think she must have given him a lot of trouble in class for a long, long time. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I'd make sure the joke was on him. The meaning should be?
I think to get back at him, to get even with someone.
That's right. So Mr. Keesing had asked her to write an essay and she wanted to get back at him through the essay. So she wrote it in the form of a satire, which of course turned out to be very funny and he enjoyed it thoroughly. He took it in a very good spirit. Well done, my dear. So here are a few more idiomatic expressions which I would like you to make sentences with. First is, caught my eye, he'd had enough, laugh ourselves silly, can't bring myself to. So you must make sentences with these idioms. Children, there's one activity which I would like you to do on a regular basis. I would like you to start writing a diary now that you know what a diary is. For diary writing, I would like you to use the following hints. Though your diary is very private, write it as if you're writing for someone else. Present your thoughts in a convincing manner. Use words which convey your feelings and words that paint pictures for the reader. Be brief. You can use contracted forms like I've, can't, didn't, don't, wouldn't, etc. You can use everyday expressions which people use in speech. So happy writing, children. Children, the beauty of this chapter is that it is very relatable. You can relate very well with Anne's life, with her relationship with her sister, with her parents, her teachers, her grandmother. You can identify with her. She's a very lovable, smart child with an amazing sense of humor. You can feel as if you're one of her classmates or one of her close friends. You can identify so well with her. So she, as you can see, had many friends, but who was her closest friend? It was her diary, which was a constant companion for her, especially through her days when she was hiding from the Nazis. Children, you can also start writing a diary and become wordsmiths as you write on it regularly. You can share your innermost thoughts and feelings with your diary. It can be your close confidant. And later on in life, when you read your diary, you will be able to relive your childhood experiences again. So children, wish you all a very happy writing.